Welcome to another episode of Fan-Made Games, and we did it, everyone! We actually made a fan-made Mario's game episode without it diverting into something completely weird and random. Yeah, I know. No need to applause. I know I deserve this reward that's right here that you can totally see, that I can totally see. It's real, and I really deserved it. Thank you so much. Well, we have 10 fan games, ROM hacks, bootlegs, whatever you want to call them, to talk about today. And I thought, what better way to start today's video than going back in time? Metaphorically, not literally, to a very old site some of my older viewers may know very well. Newgrounds is a beautiful site at the dawn of the internet era that brought forth our first internet personalities. Cool games, a ton of flash animations, and well, a few things that kids our age probably shouldn't have learned about as young as we did. And inside, amidst all the mess on the site, there were a few amazing fan games, and Super Mario 63 is one of the sparkling, shiny things I'm talking about. I'd play this game as much as I could at school during recess, lunch, computer time, whenever I could using proxies and such. It's pretty much a 2D version of Super Mario 64 that includes some interesting additions, like Flood, for example. Each level has multiple stars you can collect by completing special tasks, just like beating bosses, collecting coins, winning races, and more, just like the stuff you would get in Super Mario 64. We even have 2D versions of Mario 64 levels like Bomb Battlefield, Jolly Roger Bay, and Shifting Sands, which is really cool to see in 2 dimensions. There are also different caps you can wear that change you into Metal Mario, Ghost Mario, and allow you to fly. We also have secrets to find in Princess Peach's castle, and sweet boss fights with Bowser. It's a pretty solid experience. I mean, especially for a game that was released way back on the Newgrounds days. I was even planning to 100% it on the stream, but sadly the game ended up crashing on me, and kinda took that as a sign that I should move on to the next game. Another downside brought by the game's age is that you can't use a controller and you have to play with a keyboard, which is really not the best way to play platformers. Trust me, this will be something I bring up often throughout this video. 2 other games from the Newgrounds era that I won't be talking about today are Super Mario Bros. X, a game that brought the elements of Super Mario 1, 2, 3, and World all together into one single game, allowing you to play as Mario, Luigi, Peach, and Toad in a ton of new levels that feels like a beautiful sequel to Super Mario World. The other is Super Mario Bros. Crossover, that allowed you to play as a ton of different characters in Mario games, including Mario, Link, Mega Man, Samus, Solid Snake, Simon, Belmont, and more. But why am I bringing these games up? Well, that's a good question. Super Mario Bros. X2! A sequel to Super Mario Bros. X that adds so many new features, your brain may just explode. There are new NPCs for you to jump on or kill, or die from like I usually do. New blocks that you may remember from other games, wink wink, nudge nudge. A brand new editor to make your own levels in the game, and just like Crossover, a ton of characters to play as. Bomberman, Mario, Wario, Samus, Zelda, some dude with a mustache and a cloak he's hiding his naughty bits in. So many characters. You'll ask yourself why. Also, an awesome new overworld to move around and use for yourself. What a joy. Also, controller support, hells to the bells to the yeah. Super Mario Bros. X is an amazing experience, and it's something that you definitely need to check out. But if you're looking for something cooler and more off the wall and crazy, then maybe you should check out Mario. You'll get the joke in a minute. Mario is Mario with portals, like portals. Shoot them at one spot and then things come out the other side, and you can do some pretty cool things with it. Make those dumb Lakitus kill themselves, skip past enemies, or you can do crazy stuff like this TaskBot does at AGDQ 2019. I definitely couldn't do any of that. And on top of that, I kinda suck at Mario, so having no checkpoints, being stuck with lives, and having to play with a keyboard made this super hard for me to attempt to beat, so I found myself getting frustrated at it often. On top of playing Mario with portals, you can play Portal with Marios. That's right, there's a custom level set built around solving puzzles, and it's really fun. Once again, there are no checkpoints between puzzles, so dying means you may have to restart multiple puzzles, which gets frustrating, and losing all your lives can happen pretty quick, so I got frustrated real easily and I just kinda gave up, and I decided to move on. Sorry. The next game I tried was called Super Mario 2D Universe. The project is cancelled now and they've moved on to something new, but I'll talk about that after this. 2D Universe overall didn't really seem too special or different from anything else that I've played in the past. It controlled well and looked pretty, but it was kinda boring. I guess nothing interesting, it's just a Mario game, I guess. Which sucks for it, cause I feel like there could have been more here. And well, there was more there. The creator took all of that experience and put it into a new project called Yuna Maker. And as you can probably tell from the title, it's a game revolving around making Mario levels. Hey, it's always a fun thing. I mean, it's not quite my thing because I'm not really artistic, and it's why I slide some money in Cran's back pocket every video for a pretty thumbnail, but hey, I gotta give it a try, so let's see what I can come up with. Look at this. I call it Goomba Land. It's a land where you stomp on Goombas. I'm really good at making levels. Hey, psst. Don't tell the Goomba tubers. They may get mad at me for this one. The game, when I downloaded it, didn't come with any levels pre-installed except these 3 template levels, which look cool, I guess, but there's no enemies. It just kind of shows off the physics and graphics of the game. There is a forum, though, with over 2,000 levels to download, so this game has a striving community for you to check out. I was just kind of too lazy to find and download any levels. Plus, I mean, you should probably take some of the top, most favorite levels in that community and just put them as pre-installed levels in the game. Like, when I download it, it should come with some cool levels. Just a little, like, advice from the Badman to the Yuna Maker creator. I mean, you're making the game, so you know what you're doing. You know, I'll just shut up. Have you ever wondered what the most beautiful Mario game ever would look like? Well, you're in luck, because I got it right here. So why don't we take a look and see what it looks like? Oh god, my eyes! Oh, it's too beautiful! Seriously though, look at this. Every animation is glorious. The Goombas pumping their legs back and forth, the Koopas really jiving with every step. Even when you kick their shells, it's amazing. There are also small details all over, like the eyes on the blocks opening when you hit them a second time. Mario's animations are also plentiful, with wall jumps, crouching, looking up, jumping and throwing fireballs, all having so many animation frames I could eat them and then still have more to enjoy. To top it all off as well, there are even weather effects in levels like rain and thunderstorm that change the lighting of the levels. The controls aren't the greatest, there's only 3 levels and no controller support, but somehow the animations and graphics of this game just make up for everything. The whole team over there, and your like 6 pixel art designers, are doing an amazing job, and I say keep up the sweet work. I would love to see you all create a beautiful original game of your own one day. One last thing I need to point out before we move on is that this paratrooper is having the best day of his life, and I'm loving it. Sometimes games have great ideas, and sometimes people are idiots and they just can't understand said ideas. So I'm going to leave it up to you guys to decide whether I'm an idiot or the ideas in this game just weren't implemented that well. Super Mario Eclipse takes place in a world where we're all in a non-stop eclipse that Mario has to fix. The idea revolves around light puzzles, which has you mixing colors to make yellow, I think. This is where I got confused. I can never figure out what exactly the game wanted from me. Was I supposed to make yellow like they mentioned in the first puzzle? Am I supposed to match these bumpers or the blocks on the ground? I could never figure out what I was actually supposed to be doing. So I pretty much just brute forced everything by trying all the combos of colors I could think of. I got through most of the game, but eventually I hit a roadblock in this red temple where I just couldn't figure out the puzzles, on top of constantly falling to my death, resetting my progress. I mean, it's a cool concept for a puzzle Mario game, but I just couldn't get into it. Plus, the mixing colors all over the place just didn't look nice, and it was a constant eyesore for me. Overall, I didn't enjoy this game one little bit, but I think it won some awards somewhere, so I don't know, maybe you'll enjoy it more than I did? Feel free to give it a try. Maybe you'll understand it better than I did, or find more enjoyment from the puzzles and platformings than I ever could. Another Mario game that has a heavy dose of puzzles in it is Super Mario Dimensions 2. Yes, Dimensions 2. I decided to jump straight to the second game and ignore the first, because maybe we'll talk about it in a different video. Maybe not. We'll see. Let's focus on this one for now. It starts off by giving us a nice little recap of the story from the first game, which revolves around there being 2 dimensions. Some aliens showed up in the opposite dimension and killed all the flower people. Now they want all the power and they have to come to the Mushroom Kingdom dimension to get it. And Mario's obviously here to save the day. Oh, also there's this green ghost dude who lets you switch between different dimensions. And that's kind of where the puzzles come into play. You're allowed to switch between the different dimensions to get through barriers, jump large gaps, or solve other problems. The idea is cool, but I wasn't a huge fan of how it was implemented, and that's for one big reason. The mechanics behind it just don't make sense. I get it's designed the way it is to make the puzzles more challenging, but it can also make things just frustrating. For example, there are multiple times where you can see that you're supposed to go in a specific direction, and you notice that in one world there's an opening that you can reach from the other, so you shift over to where the opening would be and try to shift back, and nope, the game won't let you. There was even a time where I went into an area, switched from one dimension to another, and then saw that it was a dead end, so I tried to switch back without even moving, and the game didn't let me. It was just like, nope, you're stuck here now in this hole, and there's no way out, and your only option is try to make a ridiculous jump that is obviously going to kill you. It's things like this that really threw me off from enjoying the game. I mean, I played it through, and I did have fun with the new abilities and platforming from what I played, but overall there was a ton that also made me not enjoy it or want to recommend it. The dialogue wasn't the greatest, like some kind of DeviantArt fanfic. The hitboxes on enemies felt really unforgiving, where I had to land with pinpoint accuracy or I would die. The aforementioned dimension swapping issues and the fact that it wasn't really used very often in most of the game are also problems that I encountered throughout the entire thing. Now it's the time that you've all been waiting for. Well, a select few of you who have been watching me for a while know that I like to save the best for last. And these last 2 games are amazing. Sadly, they've both been canceled, or we're unaware of their current inner workings, but most likely canceled. And that's kind of how it always works out with these amazing games, sadly. What we have here is Power Star Frenzy, and if you loved Super Mario 63, you will love this game, since it plays a lot like it, but much better and more polished. Out of all the games I played, this was the one I spent the most time on. It's just huge. Tons of different levels, all with their own great themes and power-ups, each level having multiple stars to find through challenges, puzzles, and challenging platforming. And most levels fully wrap around, meaning you can walk to the right and eventually you'll make your way back to the start. There are also a ton of different paths moving into the background or up and down in the level as well. It's a super fun experience that controls great with a controller. You can even play 2 players with a friend if you want, which is an awesome addition to the game. The addition of bosses and time trials was a surprise as well, and I loved each boss I had to fight. I even wanted to 100% the game, but I couldn't find a few of the items, so I settled with almost 100%. There is no real story to follow or goal to reach, you just kind of move from level to level as you unlock each new one with a specific amount of stars, until you eventually run out of game to play. Which was a huge bummer for me. I really wanted more, and knowing I will never have more to play sucks. But I understand the developer just didn't enjoy working on this game anymore and wanted to move on to new things for himself, so good work, Random Nick, and good luck on your new adventure, which seems to be this game called Horoscope. So if you want to see what new things he's working on, take a look at Horoscope if you get a chance, over on his channel, Random Nick. It'll be in the description along with the download link for the game. A while ago, I made a video on Paper Mario fan games. And by a while ago, I mean 5 years ago. Jeez, that's kinda crazy to think about. But more importantly, is the fact that I couldn't cover this specific game in that video because this game hadn't released yet. It was only a concept that I was unaware of in 2015, and it didn't have a full demo release until 2017. And that game we're here to talk about is Epic Paper Mario. Sadly, with Nintendo's DMCA on a lot of games on GameJolt, the creators of Epic Paper Mario and Super Mario RPG The Seven Sages, ICU Gigasoft, were really brought to a halt with the development of both of these games. But we all know how the internet works. Just because something's taken off the website doesn't mean we can't find it somewhere else. So, welcome to Epic Paper Mario! Out of any fan-made Paper Mario game I've ever talked about in the past, this is the best creation I've ever seen. It feels like I'm just playing Thousand Year Door, but with a new story and new characters. We start off in this bone dungeon trying to find a way to save our friends in this cage. We learn how to battle, and it's just like any old Paper Mario, special moves, action commands, and everything. The commands to do more damage and block don't feel exactly like the original Paper Marios, but they're close enough that you can get used to them after a short period of time. There's also a new form of combat in this game where you can find glowing enemies that are corrupted, and defeat them, you just jump on them, like a normal Mario enemy. So you have this mix of Super Paper Mario and Thousand Year Door mechanics going on here, and it's really fun to be able to mix things up like that. After traveling through the dungeon for a while, we get to save Captain Toad, who joins us and sells us stuff as his special ability, and we can make our way to the boss room. Once we get there though, Toad chickens out and runs away, and we're left to fight the boss mono a mono. It's not too hard, a giant bone dragon, but before we can finish it off, we're introduced to Toadzen. I find this guy like the Hercule of Epic Paper Mario. Dude shows up at the last minute, takes all the credit, and then leaves. Plus, I'm pretty sure him messing with this gem the dragon was protecting messed with the world and is what's causing these corrupted enemies to start showing up. After the dungeon though, we're back in Mario's house and we're watching Toadzen gloat on TV and talk smack, which makes me want to give him a Super Mario smack right back. But before that, we hear something happening outside and go to check it out, and we're greeted by none other than our second party member, Toadiko, a martial artist Toad who reminds me of the martial artist Toad who kicked my butt as a kid in the original Paper Mario. Anyway, she can tattle on enemies and attack them with a chi move. She's a pretty sweet companion who wants us to bring her to Toad Town, so off on our adventure we go. We do some exploring through the lands of Paper Mario, we do some exploring through the underground of Paper Mario, and find ourselves a ton of cool new badges, mini-bosses, sad cutscenes of Goombas losing their friends to the corruption, and one final boss before we can get to Toad Town. Man, this game is just a blast, and it really makes me want to play another Paper Mario game like this. Another game like Thousand Year Door that gives you those same vibes. But sadly, after seeing something about an origami king or something, I don't think we're going to be having something like that in a little while. After reaching Toad Town, that is kind of where the game ends. We can explore Toad Town a bit and talk to some of the Toads, but that's it. We can't actually enter deeper into the town, which is a bummer because I was hyped to see what the town looked like and meet new Toads. Epic Paper Mario is an amazing, shining example of what a community can create and show off to the world when the original creators of what they loved continue to fail at quenching their hunger for what they want. And I have to say, I'm proud to be a part of this gaming community. I just wanted to thank all of you guys for being here to watch my videos, and I really hope you enjoyed this one. Feel free to comment below on any fan games you'd like me to cover, series you'd like to cover, or any ideas. I'd also like to put out there that now that I've kind of gotten back into the swing of things and I'm enjoying making content again, and I'm doing it much more frequently, I don't feel like shit about everything I do, I decided to open my Patreon back up. If any of you feel like supporting me in my Patreon in any way, shape, or form, feel free. There'll be content on there, deleted scenes, bloopers from this video specifically, and more videos in the future will be up there. And there's even comments and polls where you guys can post on what kind of content or things you'd like me to see me do in my Patreon. Don't feel like you have to go to it. Don't feel like you have to do anything with it. I'm just saying that it's there, it's active, and if you feel like it, go ahead, but it's completely up to you. So, until then, I'll see you all in the next video.